Well, the other day I talked about someone that stole a bunch of copies of Starfield. Apparently, from those copies, new footage has come out showing a game, an open world game with boundaries. So this one's from Dexterto. It's about the boundary limits that are being posed in Starfield. This is a very strange topic because this all stems back from the video I made about the guy that leaked about 40 minutes of the game, then had copies of the game and sold them online. Now it seems those people that he sold them to that have these copies are now leaking a little bit more details about it, and it seems some of them are leaking a image. Right now it's just an image. That's all I can see of saying there's a boundary limit to the planets. Now, No Man's Sky is a very vast and big game. When No Man's Sky first came out, it was absolutely just rooted with problems. The game was horrible. It couldn't even function in its current state when it was released online. And I think we're going to see something kind of similar with Starfield if we go back to the days of Skyrim, where modders came in and fixed a lot of the issues that Skyrim have, and that's how the modding community really took off, with Skyrim in particular, and this being a Bethesda game. And then there was also Redfall that recently came out, one of the worst rated games out there, which is done by a Bethesda-owned studio from my recollection, and it still is not a very good game from my understanding of how the game plays. This boundary reach controversy is a completely different scenario. There is many tweets from developers of Bethesda and Starfield saying, if you want to walk the world, go ahead and explore away. And it's very interesting to hear that there is a possibility that these boundaries reached. Until I actually see video of this, or when the game comes out here in a couple days with the early access crowd, it's going to be kind of hard to say that this is actually something there. But from some things that I'm reading, they're saying on certain planets it'll give you a few places that you can land. From my understanding, you can land where you want to land on these planets, and from there then you turn around and can only explore that area so far, really making it a smaller world than it actually is, mostly for the PC power of console gaming, because them opening up these worlds. But then we have No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a very vast game where you can explore several worlds. You can go around the world in your spacecraft. It would take you days to do it by foot, but it sounds like in Starfield they're not going to let you do that as easily. I don't know anyone that actually has gone through an entire world on No Man's Sky, so it's an interesting concept to try and do. Maybe a challenge for someone out there in the land of streaming to sit there and revolve around a planet just for something to do. It would be very interesting to see. Now with Starfield, this is in itself a different sort of genre. We're just days away from the early access of Starfield. Considering Bethesda's space epic is easily one of the most anticipated games of the years, it's no surprise that leakers have gotten their hands on it already and are spreading details that are meant to remain secret until launch. One leak in particular is causing quite a bit of controversy among gamers. Some have reported seeing a message that reads "Boundary Reached." Open the map and to explore another region, or return to your ship while trying to explore planets. Such posts were quickly removed, but it continues to circulate, and it's led to some gamers express frustration, criticizing Bethesda for seemingly breaking promises it had made regarding planet exploration. Them saying that you can walk the entire planet and this coming out, you gotta wonder where the truth actually lies, and we will all know in a few days. Now, when it comes to Twitter, you have people that have straight up asked these things. I'm Bethesda, DC, and Decon, Starfield game. When I land on a planet, will I be able to explore the whole entire planet? And Pete Hines, yep, if you want, walk on, brave explorer. And he is the head of publishing at Bethesda. So The head of publishing at Bethesda is saying, walk on. You can walk on. You can explore the entire place. Is this actually going to happen? I tend to believe, because we have No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is kind of the benchmark at this point. You have No Man's Sky, and then you're looking back at Skyrim. Skyrim's so immersed, so huge, you can seamlessly walk from one end of Skyrim to the other. Yeah, it takes a long time, and it's easier with fast travel, but you would think that if they're making a open world generated area that you can sit there and walk, why couldn't you walk the entire planet? Now, you have people saying you can explore an entire planet in piecemeal fashion, one generated map at a time. Each map has a boundary you cannot pass without moving your ship or creating a new map to explore. It's the same way Mass Effect, Outer Worlds, and Jedi Survivor does. It's not like No Man's Sky, right? So you might be greeted with a message here that says, open the map to explore another region or return to your ship, boundary reach. Now, it's one way to deal with loading screens, right? If you don't have a onboard system that will sit there and progressively load the areas, and this is to load the new area, and thus you can still start at this place at the border of it, you open the map up, you say, yes, load this new area, then you continue walking, is what this sounds like to me, if that is the case. Now, Tom Henderson is someone that is reporting on a lot of this, just getting around to all the Starfield boundary stuff from an article that went up on IG, which I actually thought was fine, since deleted. Basically, planets have a different number of landing spots with terrain limits. One planet might have 3 landing spots, with another might have 5. These are your main landing spots with POIs, points of interest, and then you have another landing spot allocations where you can land anywhere. Once again, terrain limit. You can't run all the way around the planet or whatever, and you can't run to another landing spot. Must just be the means to not stress consoles, computers, or whatever. Not sure why this has been made out to be a big deal, but the console war BS never seems to stop on this platform. So it's an interesting thing and an interesting side note, because you go into the console wars, but then you have No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky is such an open world, open boundaryless world. Why wouldn't you want to take a walk around the sun? Oh, and just so you know, you can't walk around the sun because it's a big ball of fire and it's a gas giant. This is also something that has come out. It's hilarity. It's got 2.5 million views of a tweet. You can't go to these planets because exploration was a lie. Jesus, it just gets worse. And he's showing pictures of gas giants. So honestly, if you want to take a walk around the sun, if you want to take a walk around a gas giant, someone will make the mod for you. I'm pretty sure it will happen. But this is absolutely hilarity in itself. You know, when it comes to load screens, a lot of developers will use certain tricks to do them. In Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach in particular, I call to this because they did it in such simple way. They made you ride an elevator. You ride up and down the elevator, even though you weren't changing actual floors, it gave the idea that you were. These loading screens are something that has been done in video games for a very long time, and this is kind of what it looks like to me. Is you get up to that boundary and then you just kind of load the next area, right? And then you continue walking. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, do you want to sit there and walk an entire planet? It's going to take you days to do so in a game like this. Like I said at the beginning, would you do this in No Man's Sky? It could be an interesting challenge. I would say you'd want to do this with probably a group of friends that could just rotate the stream. You start on one account, you start walking. Then another account picks it up like 8 hours later, and so on, just to prove it could be done. This would be a very unique challenge and something that would be absolutely hilarity to see. Of course, you can then turn around and time-lapse it down the line and actually put music to it and probably cut it down to a 30-minute time-lapse, which would be very unique and fun and interesting to see overall. Now, with Starfield here, is this really a big deal? Having to load the next area to be able to continue walking, that to me doesn't sound like it's actually a controversy. That just sounds like they were a little bit more lazy on the load screen. And we saw this in Skyrim, where you have all these other unique areas. It takes a while for them to load, and once you load in there, then you do it. I believe the Soul Cairn was one of them. So I'm not surprised to really see this with Bethesda. I'm more expecting there to be other issues at launch with this game, so hopefully they do smooth them out. Hopefully it doesn't take a modding community to fix the problems. Hopefully they don't have a launch like No Man's Sky did, and thankfully No Man's Sky has stuck around and it's been able to actually be the game that it once said it would be. Anyway, I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix Cinder Shadow. I'm signing off here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.